I'm Richard Hickson. I grew up Methodist. I'm a Catholic for about 23, 24 years now. We went to church every week. It was a community. Those who went to school with, those I went to church with, those where I was in Scouts as a kid, 4-H. These are all people I knew from my church. My family now I'm widowed. I have 4 children. If someone were a disciple, I would like to believe that they had a rock solid prayer life. They had a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. They worshiped regularly in a community. Worshiping together is important. That's to me is what is part of being a disciple, being open to God. We came up the northwest side of Houston, my wife and I and children at the time, looking for a church home. It's a very Protestant thing to say, looking for a church home, because every parish, every Protestant community is different. Then in the middle of this, we had a neighbor who was having a baby. We knew they were Catholic. We knew they were very strong in their faith. They were having a baby, and Joan, my wife, was asked to come and watch the kids for a short while until the real friends came to pick up the other children at home. And so Joan got the phone call, and the baby came fast, and the ambulance came slow, and she ended up delivering this baby in their house. And so we had a very close relationship with this husband and wife, and their children too. They were truly joyful in their life, and it's not just that they're happy people, but they were happy people living their faith. It was very obvious that they were joyful in their faith. My relationship, my journey with Christ, I'm going to say, was really modeled for me by my parents. Our extracurriculars a lot of times were part of the church, whether it was covered dish dinners, scouting events, or just different community events. I remember so much being in the church. We were just there every week. I think they gave me some leeway, they gave me some latitude, but they were definitely involved with that. So as a father of children, 4 children myself, I felt like it was important for their hobbies, for their extracurriculars, to also be my hobbies and my extracurriculars. And dadgum, I've met some fantastic people as a part of that. So to me, our goal was to get as active with the church as possible, seeking out friends in the church, seeking out relationships with other families that had youth. We homeschooled also, so having homeschooling families and connections and relationships was helpful, and really building that community from within the church. It's those you live around, whether you go to church with them or not, you live around these people, and they see you, how you live your life, and they identify you with the church. I think they would identify me with the church, and they certainly, my attitudes, my behaviors, my actions, that certainly reflects on the church. The communities I've been involved in, met just fantastic people. In our swim team, our neighborhood swim team, it's some people call it a cult. It's a 9-week cult that goes across every summer. It starts in the spring and ends before the 4th of July. Another big part of my community is the scouting community. Families with young children, families with older children. It's just you get to learn a lot about people when you see them crawl out of a tent on Sunday morning. hair all sticking up, stumbling in for coffee. You learn a lot about people on Sunday morning after a second night sleeping in a tent. Another community that's very important for both men and women, my wife and I were both in it, is the Acts Retreat community, ACTS. It's a 4-day retreat, and regardless of where you are in your faith life, you will finish that retreat closer to Jesus. It's an experience where that relationship, that interpersonal relationship, is definitely enhanced, and it's very important to be a part of that and see it happen. Another piece of the community that was really quite fun is with small groups. It's a really fabulous, very important to get together with a smaller group of people that you see on a recurring basis, and you get to talk about how you live your faith, some of the challenges that you face, and it's a chance to be accountable to each other. 5 years ago, my wife had a heart attack. It was a massive heart attack. She went unconscious, and she was unconscious for 5.5 months, almost 6 months. And the community just came together. It was It was phenomenal. One time, kind of towards the end, I remember an experience. It was on a Friday night, and I went outside, and I saw, I don't know how many people were in the cul-de-sac, but it had to be over 100 people in the cul-de-sac, and it was people from different communities. It was people from those who I knew in the neighborhood who weren't Catholic, who weren't even Christian. There were people certainly from our church. There was people from Acts, both men's and women's. These retreat communities. There's people certainly from Scouting, and Joan's family was there too. Just seeing this. Not everybody knew what a rosary was. They were there to pray a rosary, but they got to see it happen, and it was powerful. It was very powerful. It's very comforting to know that people are there for you in that time of need. A lot of those faces and families that I saw in the cul-de-sac outside the house, this is part of the same group that felt it important to spend time with Joan in the hospital. So I could be there during the day, but the community felt it was important for me to be able to spend time at home in my own bed and be around my own children, still be a parent as much as I could. And so in this prayer of the cul-de-sac, I saw these faces that were there at the church, that were there at the hospital. As we rotated through different facilities, they were all there. They were there cutting grass. They were there coordinating plumbers. They were there making sure work got done on the house. They were there shuttling kids back and forth to their events to keep their schedules as normal as possible. It was an impressive show of community. The biggest distractions to becoming a disciple are just that. It's life. It's the busyness of life. It's the distractions that we all have around time and money, things that take us away from family, things that take us away from practicing our faith. One word to sum up what a disciple would do. I'm going to say obedience. Obedience because it's putting yourself not first. It's recognizing that someone else is in control. It's recognizing that there's other guidelines that we live by. It's the church and what she teaches, the history that comes along with the magisterium. It's a big $15 word, but obedience to somebody other than myself.